guys, it's Lil. Welcome back. Welcome back to my channel. Today's video, as you can see, is going to be a little bit different. I have a new little setup over here, aka I was sick at sitting at the table where I had that big squeaky chair, and this is a little more cozy. This is a little bit more like we're just chatting, and we're just gonna have a little kind of chatting story time today about something that has really had an impact on my life. So today I'm going to be talking about it's like a hair in my mouth, how I lost 40 pounds. Along with that, I'm going to be including my top tips for if you are trying to lose weight. So I'm gonna have those closer to the end of the video. So stick around for the video and you will get those tips. I wanted to just do a little disclaimer before we start this video, and that is just to say that if you are happy and if you feel good and if you feel healthy, you do you no matter what the scale says. And that's just my thing. If you have seen me do things before, welcome back. If you would like to see me do things on a regular basis, make sure to go and subscribe and also ring the bell. This is my bell ringing dance so that you don't miss out on any of my new videos. Let's get started. To give you guys a little bit of background, I was never fully skinny. I was always just kind of in the middle in terms of my size growing up. When I was in high school, I joined show choir. So yes, I was in show choir. One of the things about show choir is that there's a lot of dancing involved, so it keeps you pretty active. Now, my eating habits still weren't the best just because I was, a kid in high school. So then, as a lot of kids do, I went off to college. Now, I went to college out of state. I lived in California and I went to school in Tennessee. So when I started college, I had a meal plan in the cafeteria and had a certain number of meals to eat every week in the caf, as we called it. You'd go in, you'd get your ID card scanned, you'd get let in, and at that point you could go and fill up your plate with as much stuff as you wanted. You could go back for seconds, you could go back for thirds. When you're in college and you're starting to have to budget for food, you kind of want to fill up as much as you can on stuff that's already paid for. So I went ham. I would fill up my plate with like a couple slices of pizza, a burger, pasta. But, I ate a lot. And understandably, the infamous freshman 15 kind of hit me hard. So something that I noticed after a few months of eating in the caf was pretty much every single night after dinner, I would feel awful. I couldn't think straight. My stomach hurt. Like I had these permanent huge bags under my eyes. They never went away. I always looked tired. And at first I used to just credit it to, maybe I'm eating a little too much. But even when I managed to eat a little less, I would still feel like that. And it got to a point where I'd be hanging out in my best friend's room after, a big meal, and I would just have to go back to my room early to lay down because I just felt so sick that I couldn't even function just sitting around. So I continued to just put up with it, and I didn't understand what was happening. So this went on my entire freshman year. Drinking water. I've talked about it a little bit before. I have always struggled with acne. Real emphasis on struggle, because basically from the time my first pimple popped up, it has been something that has plagued me, and it has been terrible. And I'm smiling now because it's a lot better, but oh my God, it was bad. I was constantly looking for ways to clear up my face. I remember one point at the end of freshman year, I was sitting at my desk and I was talking to my mom on the phone, and I was talking about, my face, my skin's still really bad. I want to go see a dermatologist when I get home for the summer because I'm just fed up. And one of the things she said to me was she'd heard from some colleagues about how one of their kids went gluten and dairy free. So keep in mind, I started college in 2010. I'm having this conversation in very early 2011. Gluten-free was not a thing yet. It was not a trend yet. So keep that in mind as I'm telling you this story. But, God, why is my forehead so shiny? So I'm talking to my mom, and she said that this person who went gluten-free and dairy-free, it helped clear up their acne. And so I was like, you know what? I might as well try it. Foolishly, I went cold turkey. I quit gluten and I quit dairy. Now, I did this without really realizing how much gluten was in everything. I did not do my proper research. So after quitting this very, very common thing, I remember so vividly going to my first meal in the caf that night, and I was checking all the ingredients on everything, and I realized I couldn't eat like a single thing. I could not eat anything. Now, gluten was one thing. The 1-2 punch of gluten and dairy being the two things that I could not eat made it virtually impossible for me to eat anything, and I am not exaggerating. My meals for months in the caf consisted of slices of deli turkey, lettuce, and vinaigrette. And those were my meals. I lost a good 10-15 pounds. I lost all of the freshman 15 without even trying it, and that is not good. That is not a good diet strategy, and I am not endorsing that at all because it was terrible. Once I kind of got past the scary, oh my God, I can't eat anything phase, I started, being able to eat again. And I found that my stomach and my energy levels were just so much better not eating gluten and dairy. So I stuck with it for a couple years, and it showed. And you could see that my face was a lot less puffy. I did manage to keep off quite a bit of weight because I was making smarter food choices for myself. Here's the thing that I have grown to realize over the past few years especially. Food is so much of a social thing. If you're a college student and you're already nervous about like fitting in and making friends, and you add weird food sensitivities into the mix, it's hard. And so in about my senior year, I started reintroducing foods. I started eating gluten again. I started eating dairy again. I went from super careful to straight up YOLO. The gluten face came back with a vengeance. And it got to that point again where I felt sick all the time. I felt kind of off. And from the time that I started eating gluten and dairy again to the time I ended up graduating from college, I had gained quite a bit of weight back. And at this point, I was still in my YOLO phase. If you see me with my arm like over here, I have a bunch of notes written out so I don't forget anything, and so that's what I'm doing. I'm not just like chilling. So over the next 2 years or so, I kind of blew up a little bit. I gained a lot of weight. At one point, I was the heaviest I had ever been in my life, and I was about 155 pounds. So in the summer of 2015, we moved to Hawaii. We moved here. And we had been living here for about a year or so when I reached basically the peak of my unhappiness with the way that I looked and the way that I felt. This would have been in, I think, late summer of 2016 was when this was. And the first thing that I did was I cut out gluten again, which helped a little bit, but by that point, I had been overindulging for so long that my body was just not bouncing back at all. At this point, I was engaged. I had a wedding coming up in less than a year, and I was terrified because I knew that the way that I looked and felt at that moment, I was not going to have the wedding that I wanted. I remember being out on a walk one night with my husband, who was at that time my fiance, and I looked at him and I was like, I'm gonna lose weight. And it just so happened that one of my best friends in the entire world, Sarah, actually just gotten certified to become a personal trainer. And so I reached out to her and we ended up setting up a monthly training plan. And so how that worked was, she is in Tennessee, I am here. So clearly we're not meeting up for gym sessions. She used an app, and I'm just going to say this is not any kind of like multi-level marketing thing. She's not a coach or anything. She is an actual legitimate certified personal trainer. She's the real deal. I filled out a little bit about like my stats now, like my weight, my height, all of that. The point that I wanted to get to, basically, and I think at that point, I wanted to get to 130 pounds. I think that was my first goal. I took my very first progress photo, which I guess is now like the very first before photo that I have. And taking that photo was so hard. It was so hard because I was just, you can look at the photo and you can see how miserable I was. I was just so unhappy. And it's kind of heavy to talk about. Little PSA, if you haven't had any water yet, drink water during this video. And so I started the workouts. They were so hard at first, I could barely get through them. For the first few months, I was doing my workouts religiously. I was working out at first, I think she started me off on 3 times a week, but that very quickly moved up to 4 times a week. And I did end up losing maybe like 2 or 3 pounds, but this was over a few months, and so it wasn't really the progress that I wanted before my wedding in February 2017. At this point, Sarah, my friend slash personal trainer, started my meal plan, which was really cool. It was a monthly meal plan. I started the meal plan. I started following it to the letter, and it was real specific. It was like 1 small apple, 1 hard-boiled egg, and that would be like my 3 p.m. snack. And so the way it was set up was, I started eating at 7 a.m. Then 3 hours after that, I had another small meal, basically like a snack. At noon, I had a small lunch. At 3 p.m., I had a small afternoon snack. At 6 p.m., I had a small dinner. And at 8 p.m., I had a small dessert. Within the first few weeks of this meal plan getting introduced, it was like the weight was just falling off of me. After going months of working out and seeing pretty much no progress to losing a couple pounds a week, I thought that my scale was broken. At first I was like, there's no way, but I just kept losing weight. And so this continued on. And so the entire month of December was the first month I was doing it. And then the entire month of January, up until the week of my wedding, I was sticking to this meal plan. And by the time my wedding week rolled around, I had lost almost 25 pounds. So, wow. However, because I'm a perfectionist, I knew that the point I had gotten to for my wedding was not where I wanted it to end, per se. And so I continued working with Sarah after my wedding, and I set a new goal. For my new goal, I had about 15 more pounds to go. And so I kept working at the meal plans. I kept doing more intense workouts. And the nice thing was the workouts actually started to get sort of fun for me. I didn't skip workouts. I didn't cheat on my meal plans. And within the next few months, I hit my goal weight and I lost that final 15 pounds. And so that is pretty much where I have hovered for almost 3 years now. Wow. Ugh, it's been a long time. I am now at this point, I no longer do the monthly training, but I do have such a better relationship with food. After a certain point, I stopped following the meal plan because I was no longer trying to lose weight. I was so much better at figuring out which forms of exercise I really like. It was so much easier for me to hold myself accountable and work out even though I wasn't working towards a certain goal. It was just to feel good. and feel healthy. Even though I was no longer following any plans, having that framework in my mind really set me up for success in terms of choosing which foods to eat and physical activity. Kind of give you an idea of my overall progress. In the summer of 2016, I weighed about 155 pounds. By late summer of 2017, I had lost 40 pounds. So altogether lost 40 pounds. I've pretty much maintained that to this day. If you've stuck around this whole time and you're waiting for the tips, good on ya. Proud of you. I have just a few tips that really helped me find success. I am not a licensed health professional. I am not a personal trainer. I'm not any of that. So this is not any kind of medical advice for you. These are just tips of things that worked for me. The number one tip that I can offer, which was, I'm convinced, the only way this would have worked out for me: find a trained professional to help you. By trained, I don't mean your friend who just started selling protein shakes on the side. That is not a trained professional. I am talking about someone who is either like a personal trainer in a gym, or a registered dietitian, or someone who is certified to offer health and diet advice. Certified, official. Those are my buzzwords for that. I am very, very lucky that one of my best friends in the entire world loves to work out and chose to pursue a career in personal training. So I had that kind of in. If you don't happen to have, like I did, a friend who is a certified personal trainer, when quarantine is lifted, obviously check out your local gym, or go on Yelp and try to look up, you know, the best personal trainers, because when you find a good one that you really click with, it is so nice to have that person holding you accountable. And obviously it's just not holding you accountable, it's holding your money accountable too, because for me, especially if I'm paying for something, I am so much less likely to make excuses and skip a workout if I'm like, okay, then what am I paying for? If it's my money that's being used for something, you can be pretty sure I'm gonna use it. You don't even need to go into a gym. If you're able to find a certified personal trainer who offers online training, that is what I did, and clearly it worked for me. So you can either look online and see if maybe any of the trainers who work at gyms offer online coaching, or you can hit up my friend Sarah, and I'm going to include her information in the description box too, if my progress has convinced you at all. This is not a commercial or anything for her, but I gotta give her a shout out because honestly, she changed my life. If it is in your budget to find someone like this, and it's not in everyone's budget, but if it is in your budget, I highly recommend it. My second tip: diet is everything. Diet is key. It is the most important part of losing weight. If you are doing your workouts religiously like I was and not seeing any progress, there's a good chance it is because your diet has not changed accordingly. I did not see any progress, as I mentioned before, until my eating habits changed. And so I fully believe that if I had not had a workout plan and all I had was a meal plan, it still would have worked pretty well because it was all about what I was eating. The combination of the two, however, was the best because when I was losing weight from the diet plan, I was gaining muscle with the workout routine. And so that's still like the gold standard to me, and I think to pretty much anyone who's lost weight. It's all about diet and exercise, but it's mostly about diet. So in order to lose weight, your relationship with food has got to change, whether that's eating more meals closer together like it was for me, or just switching out, some foods for healthier ones. It's all about what you're putting in. My third and final tip is make it a habit. If you do not make it a habit, you're not going to feel compelled to keep doing it because it's not a habit. That's what a habit is. Anyway, I followed my workout schedule so closely. Like, I followed that schedule of going to work, coming home, immediately working out. I did that for so long, for so many months in a row, that not doing it felt really weird. It's like that feeling of, you know that you're forgetting something, like you know that something's not right, but you can't put your finger on it. Well, I could put my finger on it, because if I missed a workout, even if I started half an hour later than I typically did, it felt wrong. I felt off. And it was because I had turned it into a habit. I looked up, like, how long does it take to form a habit? And I saw somewhere that said it takes about like 60 days. It takes about 2 months for something to truly be cemented as a habit. And so that actually sounds pretty right to me. That sounds about how long it took for me to get so well adjusted to my workouts that they became a staple in my routine. I couldn't skip them. That wasn't an option in my brain. Once it did become a habit, once it just became part of my routine, I noticed that I stopped dragging my feet about it. I would just get home, put on my workout clothes, work out, and then I was done with it. And it was that easy. Well, I mean, physically it wasn't that easy, because clearly working out is not meant to be easy. It's meant to be a challenge, but you know what I mean. It was mentally easy to say, okay, I'm going to work out now and just get it over with. But I will say that after a point, it's not getting it over with anymore, because you get to a certain point where you start to enjoy the way you feel after a workout. Like, if you've had a really hard workout, you finish it and you feel strong and you feel healthy and just good. It's weird. I never in my life thought I'd be one of those people that's like, yeah, I just had the best workout. But if you do it long enough, you get to that point, I promise. Even now that I'm not following a very rigid routine anymore for working out, I can't sit all day. I have to do something physical. Even if I don't leave my apartment for an entire day, I'm watching TV, but I'm literally like pacing around watching TV, because I can't sit still for that long. I need some kind of physical activity, because it's very ingrained in my brain now that I feel better when I'm active. For that reason, I still make it a habit to move as much as I can, which is when we all get out of here, I am gonna go walk around. I used to love going to walk around the mall, and I love that not only because I love shopping, but because it's a great workout. So that's my tip number 3, is make it a habit and you won't have to think about it. If you got through all of that, good job. Proud of you. That is my story about how I lost 40 pounds. And hopefully hearing this was encouraging to you. I guess if you are currently trying to lose weight, or you're currently trying to start a healthier lifestyle, or just incorporate working out in general or eating healthy. Not everything that works for me will work for you, and vice versa. It's all about trial and error. And again, having someone who's trained to do this makes all the difference. So I can't recommend that enough. Again, check out your local gyms to see if anyone's doing training online, or go on YouTube and look up workout videos. I love Yoga with Adriene. She's one of my favorites, and she is someone that Sarah actually included in my personal workout plans. Like, every Sunday I would do a yoga video, so that was really cool. If you have heard all the wonderful things that I've said about my friend Sarah, and you're interested in online personal training, and it's something that you think you can fit into your budget, I have included Sarah's information below. She is just the best. She's awesome. She's super encouraging. She is very talented at creating workout plans that fit for you. Like, if there's an exercise that you absolutely hate, shout out to burpees, but she'll try not to include those as much. I'm not just saying all these nice things because she's one of my best friends in the whole world, but because honestly, she's good. She's good. You've seen my before and after pictures by now, so you know she's the real deal. I've included her contact information below, so send her a message, let her know, hey, I saw what a great job you did with Lil. Help me out. And she, of course, would love to hear from you, and she can train you online. She never needs to meet up with you. You don't need to go to any gym or anything. You can do a quarantine safe workout routine from the comfort of your home. My husband called me in the middle of making this video. So again, another reason to get a camera. If you know any good cameras for just filming videos like this or for vlogging, which is something I'm going to try to do a little bit more, especially when we can go out in public again. But if you have any recommendations, please let me know in the comments below. Anyway, that is all I have for this video. I like this, I like just hanging out and talking. So if you want to see more videos like this, if you want more content related to living a healthy lifestyle, or if there are any videos you want me to make, let me know in the comments. I am open to any and all suggestions because I just enjoy doing this. So that is it for now. As always, thank you so much for watching, and I hope and I cross my fingers that I will see you in the next video. Bye.